Jenny and whatever. I'm sorry that I didn't load the videos from the YouTube. So I'm sorry, and let's go to the story of My Weird School. Number 1, Miss Daisy is Crazy, by Dan Gutman. Pictures by Jim Palon. Don't miss book 2 of My Weird School. Mr. Klutz is nuts. To Emma. Oh, it's AJ. Chapter 1. I hate school. My name is AJ, and I like football and video games, and I hate school. Our teacher, Miss Daisy, was talking about it in dance. It was the first day of 2nd grade. Miss Daisy told everyone in the class to stand up, say our name, and say something about ourselves. All the kids laughed when I say I hated school, but there was not funny about it. I have learned a lot of my 8 years. In my 8 years, one thing I learned is that there is no reason why kids should have to go to school. If you ask me, kids can learn all we can learn to learn about by watching TV. You can learn important information about which breakfast cereal tastes best and what toys would you buy and what shampoo leaves in your sentence. This is stuff that we'll need to know about when we grow up. Schools is just dumb thing that grown-ups thought so they wouldn't have to pay for babysitters. When I grow up and I have children in my own, I won't make them go to school. They can just ride their bikes and play football and video games all day. They will be happy, and I think I'm the greatest father in the world. But for now, I wanted to let my new teacher, Miss Daisy, know from the very smart how I fit in the school. You know what, AJ? Miss Daisy said. I hate school too. You do? We all stared at Miss Daisy. I thought teachers love school. If they don't love school, why do they become teachers? Why did they ever want to go to a school and a grown-up? I knew that when I grow up, I'm not going to go anywhere near a school. Sure, I hate school, Miss Daisy continued. If I have to be teaching you, I would be sitting in my comfortable couch, watching TV and eating bonbons. Wow, we all said, what's a bonbon? Asked Ryan, a kid with black sneakers who was sitting next to me. Bonbons are things that wonderful chocolate treats, Miss Daisy told us. They are about the size of a large corn and you can pop the wild thing right into your mouth, and you don't even need a napkin. I could eat a whole box of bonbons in one sitting. Wow, it's eating a bonbon in a one box and 6 bonbons. I wonder what bonbons taste. They sounded delicious, said Andrea Young, a girl with curly brown hair. She was sitting up real straight in the front of the class with her hands folded like they are attacking each other. Miss Daisy seems like a pretty cool lady for a teacher. Anybody who hated school and liked to sit around watching TV and eating chocolate treats was okay by me. Me and Miss Daisy had a lot of common. Maybe going to school wasn't so terrible after all. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's fun and you meet all the kids like this. Chapter 2. Miss Daisy and Mr. Principal Klutz. Miss Daisy said it was time for us to clear off the desk and see how much we knew about arithmetic. Oh, if I gave you 20 apples and Principal Klutz took 29 of them away, Miss Daisy asked, how many apples would you have left? Who cares how apples you have left? I said. I hate apples. If you ask me, you and Principal Klutz take all the apples away. I couldn't bother me one bit. You would have 20 apples, said that girl Andrea Young in the front of the class. She had a big smile on her face, like she had just opened her birthday present. Andrea Young thinks she's so smart. I hate arithmetic, I announced. Would you know that? Miss Daisy said. I hate arithmetic too. You do? We all said, sure. I don't even know what you get if you multiply 4 times 4. You don't? I have an idea, Miss Daisy said, scratching her head and winking on her forehead. She was trying to figure out. Maybe one of your kids can explain it to me. Boy, Miss Daisy is really dumb. Even I know what you when and you imply 4 times 4. But if that smarty pants, I know everything about girl Andrea Young beat me and got called on it first. If you put 4 crayons a row, she told Miss Daisy, as the bunch of crayons on top of her desk. And you made 4 rows of crayons. You would have 16 crayons. See? Then she counted the crayons from 1 to 16. Miss Daisy looked at the crayons on her desk. She had a puzzle on her face. I'm not sure. I understand, she said. Can somebody else explain it to me? Michael Robinson, this kid wearing a red t-shirt with a dirt spike on it, explained it 4 times 4 again, using pencils. He has 16 pencils on his desk. In 4 rows of 4 pencils, Miss Daisy still had a look on her face like she doesn't understand. What would you happen to subtract half of a pencils? She asked. Michael took away 2 of rows of pencils and took them his pencil box. Then you have 8 pencils, we all said. Andrew Young added. For half of 16 is 8. Miss Daisy winked up her forehead until it was almost like an orden. She still didn't get it. She started counting on the pencils on Michael's desk out loud on her using her fingers. She got it all wrong. We gathered around Michael's desk and tried to explain how to Miss Daisy how to add, subtract, multiply, and describe numbers using the pencils. Nothing worked. Miss Daisy had to be the dumbest teacher in the history of the world. No matter how many times we tried to explain, she kept shaking her head. I'm sorry, she said. It will take me a while to understand the arithmetic. Maybe you can explain it to me more tomorrow. For now, we have to clean off our desk because Principal Klutz is coming in and to talk to us. I know all principals. My friend Billy from other corner, who was second grade last year, told me that the principal is like the king of the school. He runs everything. Billy asked that if you break the rules, you have to go to principal's office, which is dungeon down in the basement. Kids in the dungeon get locked and all forced to listen and their parents. Old CDs for hours. It must be horrible. Miss Daisy told us to be the best behavior So Principal Clutch would see the mater we were. Finally, he walked into our room. "Welcome to second grade," he said cheerfully. "I'm sure we are going to have a wonderful year together." Principal Clutch told us a lot of stuff about the rules of the school. We are not allowed to run in the halls. We are not allowed to chew a gum, stuff like that. But I wasn't listening so closely because I kept staring at his head. He had no hair at all. Well, I mean none. His head looks like a giant egg. When Principal Clutch was all done telling us the rules of that school, he asked if nobody has questions about that. He said, Did you your hair fall down in your head?" I asked. "Or did you cut it off?" I bet everybody laughed, even though I didn't say anything funny. Miss Daisy looked at me in a mean face. "Actually, it was a both," Principal Clutch said. Principal Clutch ripped with a chuckle. "Almost all of my hair fell down in its own, so I decided to shave the rest of it off." "That's the saddest story I ever had," said this girl named Emily. She burst into the tears. "Don't feel bad," Principal Clutch said. "It could have been all worse." "How?" sniffed Emily. "Well, at last my brain didn't fall out of my head." We all laughed, even Emily. Principal Clutch was pretty funny guy. For the principal, any other questions? Did you have a dungeon down the basement where where the bad kids, where you put the bad kids? I asked. "Actually, the dungeon is on the third floor," Principal replied. Nobody laughed this time. He quickly told us that it was making a joke, and that didn't even have a dungeon at all. Principal Clutch made Principal Clutch must have fled bad that we didn't think his joke was funny because he invited us all up to the front of the room. He touched his bald head. When he did, and that everybody felt a lot better. Principal Clutch seemed nice, but a lot of people seemed nice when you go first meet them. Then later you get out that they were evil villains who planned to take over the world. I bet he was lying about the dungeon. Chapter 3. How to read. How to spell read. Before school started, my mother told me that second grade was the most interesting grade because this was the year of we could be able to read chapter books all by myself. Actually, I knew how to read, even though I tried to very hard not to learn. You see, my friend Billy told me that you actually don't have to know how to read. Billy says that when you grow up, make lots of money, you can pay people to read for you. That sounded good to me. I hate reading, I announced when Miss Daisy was passing some spelling worksheets. Me too, agreed Miss Daisy. You do? We all asked. Yep, I can't read a word. You can't? Nope. You can't spell the word read? Michael Robinson asked. I don't have a clue. She asked, snatched her head the same way she did when she told us how to multiply 4 times 4. Just sounded like it, Miss Daisy. Andrea God R-E-E-D? Miss Daisy said. No! We all said. I give up. She said. Do any of you know how to spell the read? R-E-A-D. We all chanted. Wow, I didn't even know that. She marveled. Miss Daisy. Wait. You haven't taught me a lot today. How did you teach second grade if you don't know how to spell read? Asked Ryan. Well, I figured out that second graders don't know how to spell very well, so I didn't matter neither or not I could spell. I know how to spell a lot of hard words, Andrea Young announced it. Me too, everybody else said. Really? Miss Daisy said. Like what? Everybody's shouting the words how to spell them, but Miss Daisy stopped us, made us take turns. She had each of us go up the board and write 3 words we knew. I wrote tonight, reading, and McDonald's. by the time we are done, the whole clipboard was filled with words. There wasn't even room for left for more. Wow, wow, Miss Daisy said. You kids have thought me well so much this morning. I'm glad I decided to be a teacher. Now this is Ghana's thing, and if you like this video, then it was part 1, and I'm gonna do it part 2 when I know it. And be sure to like and subscribe, or I'll make more videos from the channel. And